What if we went into a world where T'Challa was taken as a child by the Ravengers? Oh, these are the questions that we're going to have to ask today. Where? Oh, here on I Love Puppets. Hello, everybody. My name is Puppetine from I Love Puppets, here today on I Love Puppets, today to discuss What If, episode 2. And to join me, of course, we have Zach, the bartender.
Minor spoiler if you haven't seen the episode. But yeah, this was the best rhyming one that I could come up with. And I thought it was funny. But yeah, the bartender, when you get to the bartender scene, I think you'll really like it. I really liked it anyway. I like
the scene right after the bartender scene, but that's myself.
That was a good scene too. The whole episode is full of good scenes, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into that, and that's right. So we are on episode 2 of What If, and the question is, what if T'Challa became a Star-Lord? It's a little bit of a silly title to me. I feel like they could have somehow worked it better, but yeah, you know what? It's an interesting question. So if he was taken by the Ravengers as a kid, what happens? Well, these are questions that are intriguing, and we're going to find out here. So recapping, it actually starts out with the infamous scene of Star-Lord going after the Power Stone.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, it starts out there. You see Star-Lord. It is very much almost, a recap of that opening scene. You see him with the mask on. He's walking across the temple and everything. And
he's not dancing, though.
He's not dancing. He doesn't have the Walkman. Remember, this is not Peter Quill. This is T'Challa. But he goes, and you could even tell the way he uses that little gravity thing, a little bit more sophistication to how he uses it.
It's actually the opposite. So Peter Quill's gravity bomb thing that he throws down always attracts the nearby figures. T'Challa's blows them away, pushes them away.
Oh, you're right. Mm-hmm. It does the reverse. Yeah,
it reverses the polarity of the neutron flow.
Kind of. Oddly enough, like T'Challa as Star-Lord in this whole episode, it's like in every scene he handles things almost the opposite way that Peter Quill would handle it, which makes for very entertaining viewing, I thought. And there's the scene like from the beginning of the movie where I can't remember the actor's name, but in the movie,
Neither can I.
But in the movie, his name is Korvath, I think. Korvath the Pursuer. And he's the guy that goes who when Star-Lord introduces him. He's like, who? That guy. In this version, T'Challa as Star-Lord is apparently very well renowned. He has the popularity. So when T'Challa reveals himself and he says, I'm Star-Lord, he goes, oh my God, it's Star-Lord. And I feel like I should be bowing or kneeling or something. Like he's like very over. He's a fanboy. He's a Star-Lord fanboy.
And T'Challa's like, because T'Challa actually doesn't even say his name. He says, you might know me by another name. And that's when he says, oh my gosh, it's Star-Lord. And in that moment, T'Challa's like, I'm not very comfortable with that name. That rank is not accurate.
And then he tries to do the bowing thing, and T'Challa's like, no. It's almost like that scene from Infinity War where he's like, we don't do that here. We don't do the bowing.
With Bruce Banner, yeah.
With Bruce, yeah. So very, very fun, just like the opposite reaction. Again, this guy apparently knows who Star-Lord is. He's got a really big, popularity factor. And he's like, I do need to take that power orb from you, the Power Stone from you, though. And he's like, well, I can't just give it to you, so let's fight. And so he's like, well, should I use the gun? I don't know if I should use the gun. Charles like, no, just go ahead and use the gun. It's fine. It's really, really funny. I really enjoyed it. Just this whole fanboy aspect of this character was really fun to see.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And from there, Star-Lord defeats him. And then he carries him over his shoulder, and he's going out with the stone.
Yeah, because I think he intends to hire him or recruit him or something like that. Yeah.
Well, because he is a fan and he does have some skill, so join the Ravagers. They're basically Robin Hood and the Merry Men now.
Yeah, Right.
Mhm.
Because well, what happens is, so at the beginning when they take, you find out when they take T'Challa from Earth, Yondu doesn't actually go down and abduct T'Challa himself. He sends, I forget his name in the movie, Sean Gunn.
Raglan?
Kraglin, thank you. Yeah, he sends Kraglin and Taserface to go get him, and those two, not being the brightest bulbs in the Ravager crew, abduct the wrong kid. Because Wakanda, of course, it's got the vibranium meteorite, which sends out like this crazy cosmic signal. So the two of them figure, oh, this must be Ego's kid, because remember, they're looking for a celestial kid. So they get the vibranium readings, and they're like, oh, this should be him. And they bring little T'Challa back, and Yondu shows him a picture of Peter Quill. He's like, are you sure you got the right kid?
This is not the same kid at all. Yeah, I actually went to MegaCon last week, and Michael Rooker was there. I sadly did not make it in time to hear him talk about What If, but I heard that he said that he really had a good time with this episode. He really enjoyed it. And
he really does have a good character arc, a good little performance in this episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, but quickly from there, we go back to the present, where Star-Lord T'Challa is with his new pal and the other Ravengers as they go to a bar, space bar, where they meet Zax the bartender.
Zax the bartender. That was so good. I loved it. It's really great. The way it unfolds. I don't know. Should I? I don't want to spoil it if anyone hasn't seen it.
Well, no. We're 2 days late. Spoilers are already there.
You're right. We are.
One thing I want to talk about first before we get in
there,
because we get a reveal after that moment. But first, we need to talk about this. What's his name again?
Who?
The one they pick up.
Corvath. I think it's Corvath. I'm gonna do a quick IMDb.
Is just asking all these questions. He's going in, how did you do this? Oh yeah, that was a good one. And they're reminiscing. And he brings up, and how did you stop Thanos, the Mad Titan? And that's when Thanos like puts an arm on his shoulder, and he's like, I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong, and that T'Challa basically talked him into that there are more ways to reallocate the universe's resources to save the universe.
And T'Challa says, yeah, pretty much the only weapon you need sometimes is just a good argument.
And that's when Thanos says, yeah, I'll drink to that. But I will say my idea, I still think my idea had some merit. And everybody's like, no, I'm pretty sure that's just genocide, Thanos.
And he's like, no, it's all right. It was random. It was going to be random. It comes up several times in the episode. It's like, no, it would have been random. It wouldn't have been genocide. And it is Josh Brolin doing it too. So that kind of helps add to it as well.
It does.
That was really fun. But bouncing off of that, so T'Challa goes to the bar to get a drink, and Drax the Destroyer is now Drax the bartender, and he sees and he recognizes T'Challa. He's like, oh, you're Star-Lord. You saved my planet, my wife and daughter from Thanos. So Drax in this timeline doesn't have a grudge against Thanos. His wife and daughter are alive. He's like, let me get a picture with you. And so he like tries to take a selfie with him, and T'Challa's very like not into it. And Drax is like, wait, let me take another one. You look terrible, but I look great.
And that's when somebody from the side says, I don't know. He looks pretty good to me. And who is it but Nebula? She is not all robotic parts. She is a woman with one little like
she's got the little
here.
Yeah, the little eye thing. Yeah, that's it.
She's got this long blonde hair. It's Bombshell Nebula.
Yeah. I want this in a live action movie. Huh? Yeah. Hello, nurse. One of those moments. Yeah, she's got the long blonde hair. She's got the sparkly dress and the martini glass. It's very like noir. It's very classy. She's a classy space dame.
Oh yeah. And she has something that she wants to talk about with T'Challa. She has a heist. Now, that's what this is. This is really a heist. And so they are going after these Genesis particles, which can terraform an entire planet. And they're in the Collector's collection. Because after Thanos went straight, as he says, there was a big power gap, and who came to fill it in? The Collector, and he is looking pretty buff. Mm-hmm.
Collector been hitting the gym. He's like, yeah, he's buff. This is not little Benicio del Toro from the live action movie. No, this dude is
Actually is Benicio del Toro.
Well, it is him voicing him, but it's not the figure, the physical appearance he had in the movie. Like, he's buffed up in this one, so he's a very imposing character. But yeah, he's got his big giant collection, of course, that he's housing the Genesis particles in.
Nowhere.
Yeah, in Nowhere. It's still in the giant floating celestial head, Nowhere. And so they come up with a plan, because the idea is to get the Genesis particles out so I think they can feed like 1 billion worlds, or make sure that everyone has enough, which I'm just now thinking about. You had the Infinity Stones. You convinced Thanos not to snap out half the galaxy. You could have convinced.
Hey! I don't think he convinced Thanos not to snap out half the galaxy. I think it's before Thanos got the stones.
Before he got the stone. Oh, okay. That makes more sense then. That makes more sense.
Yes. But quickly they go into gear as they're explaining the heist is happening. It's one of those cool little things, And they have T'Challa in a crate, and he's being taken. And as he's looking, quickly it looks like, bum, 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 Nebula betrays them all. And T'Challa is caught, and he's taken to the Collector. And it
doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
Well, he finds out, really, it doesn't look good, because T'Challa is like, I'm just a normal, he's a normal human. Remember, at this point, he hasn't been in Wakanda. He hasn't eaten the herb, or had the herb that gives him his Black Panther powers. So he's just a normal human. And so Tavon, the Collector, is just like, oh, well, that's kind of disappointing.
Why shoot laser beams out of your eyes?
Nothing like that. So he just is like, let's dissect him anyway. Use them for parts, I think he says.
Yep.
But,
and he has the entire Black Order there.
He does, yeah. The Black Order is now his bodyguards, because after Thanos went straight, Black Order were kind of without a job, so they went to become the Collector's bodyguards.
Yep. And so it looks bad for T'Challa, but that is oh no, I'm not going to address comments right now. I'll get to it at the end. I'm going to finish explaining first. Stop laughing!
It just hit me.
Too soon.
Too soon. It is far too soon.
But
oh wow!
Nebula goes into the prison cell where the other Ravengers are being kept, and shoots one of the Black Order right then and there. And why? Because
it's a triple cross.
It's a triple cross, because T'Challa was in on it all along.
It was such a lot all along.
Yes.
Nebula all along. Whatever.
Yeah, the Collector basically wanted, him. That was the real goal. It wasn't for anything else. So Nebula wants to pay off her debt in a way. And this is her way to do it, but with T'Challa being in on it, he takes his necklace, which has small vibranium spikes, and he goes ahead, takes it, and shatters the cage.
Yeah, he uses it like a panther claw type deal, like bronze knuckle, panther claw, something, and just shatters the cage, and he's gonna fight Collector. Which, now, if this was the live action movie, wouldn't be a contest, but again, like we said, Collector is swole, Plus, he's got, it's actually really cool. He's collected these various artifacts and items from across the MCU. So the first thing he tries to use, he uses like a dark elf knife or dagger from Thor: The Dark World. So you're like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of cute. That's funny.
He uses this, the hardest thing. He takes, and his hand is covered in rocks. Why? Because he took Korg's hand.
I forgot about that. He kills Korg.
He has killed Korg.
That's the shot. He kills Taika. I forgot about that until you just mentioned it right now. Yeah, he kills Korg because he says he took it off of the corpse of a chatty, whatever alien Korg was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Korg is dead in this timeline.
But we also see Captain America's shield in there.
Captain Shield. I think Mjolnir was in there too, if I'm not mistaken. But he ends up using Hela's helmet, the Queen of the Underworld.
That is a very part I didn't notice. I thought that Hela's helmet was just something she conjured up, and so all those skills were hers. No, the helmet does it itself.
Yeah, the necro swords that come from it and everything. Yeah, so it's really so he starts using the swords and the helmet, and Yondu at this point rushes over to the scene to kind of help T'Challa out, and they have a little a tag team move they call Sticky Fingers, where one of them goes in and gets beat up by the Collector, and then T'Challa's coming up with a move while Yondu's getting beat up. They steal his little gauntlet that controls all of his items, and ultimately what happens is they end up pushing him into one of his own cages. And then Black Panther turns around to Karina, who, if anyone remembers,
the little pink assistant
girl from the first movie, the one who blows herself up trying to use the Power Stone. She gets a really cool a little moment where the Collector's like, okay, come on, let me out. But what she does is all of the other aliens who are collected in the museum get released, and so they're all circling around the Collector, and then they open the cage, and he's like, and Marani even says it right there in the chat, karma, and he gets his comeuppance.
Yep.
So really cool scene.
Also, Thanos taking on 2 of the Black Order, and Thanos is kind of powered down. Okay, he's relaxed. He's good guy Thanos now.
He's still big, and he's still a big buff tank guy, but he doesn't have the Infinity Stones. So he's not powered up. So he's not that big of a threat.
So whenever he goes against Black Order, Nebula is trying to rush out with the rest of the Ravengers, and Thanos says, "I'll hold him back." And she's like, "You can't. That's crazy." And he says, "It's not crazy. It's mad." Because he's a mad titan.
That was cool. I did kind of dig that scene. That was really cool. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, doesn't Nebula help him out?
In the end.
Because throughout the whole episode, Nebula and Thanos, they kind of bicker and snip at each other, or at least Nebula does. T'Challa even makes a little side joke. He's like, "I've been trying to get them in therapy for years." But in this episode, towards the end, Thanos does look like he's about to be down, and Nebula comes in and kind of saves him. And T'Challa and Yondu, they're getting away. Well, no, what Nebula does, doesn't she? She releases the little Genesis particles, and that
into the big reptilian kind of one, and he becomes a tree.
Yeah, the big giant guy who had that war hammer from Endgame and Infinity War, he opens his mouth, the little seeds go inside, and he grows up into a tree. And so this giant tree, it's almost like an I Am Groot moment, actually. It would have been really cool if the tree was Groot. But so this tree is now destroying and kind of going throughout the Collector's Museum. So T'Challa and Yondu have to get away, but they're separate from the rest of the Ravagers, from Thanos and Nebula and all of them. So what happens earlier in the episode, actually, before T'Challa gets captured, he finds a Wakandan spacecraft that his necklace kind of lights up around. So he goes in there, and he finds out his father and the people of Wakanda have been looking for him the entire time that he was gone. When Yondu took him away, he was told that war had enveloped the planet and that Wakanda was destroyed. So all this time he was living in space, he thought he didn't have a home to go back to. So now T'Challa's found out, Wakanda, they were actually out looking for me. So he and Yondu were a little bit at odds in the middle of the episode, but then, of course, they make up towards the end. They all go back to Wakanda. There's this big old scene where he leads the Ravagers into the Wakandan throne room, and Shuri's there, his mom's there. And it's kind of, it's this whole happy scene. They have a little party. Thanos is once again trying to say, "Hey, my idea would have worked." No, it's still genocide.
No, because it's random. And Nebula on the side is like, "Oh, Dad, no,
not again,
not again. You bring this up every time." You can't kill half of the universe. Yeah, no, and it just looks like a happy ending until
oh yeah, the ending, yeah.
Yes, because the Watcher actually says, and Jeffrey Wright is he has a fantastic voice.
He does do really good as the Watcher. I do like his narrations.
He says, while this family reunion is happening, another is happening elsewhere. And we see Peter Quill working in a Dairy Queen, and he's mopping up, and
listening to music while he's mopping, of course, because he's Peter Quill.
And somebody's there, and they said, "Hey, hello there." And Quill's like, "Who are you?" And who do we see but Ego, actually voiced by
the great Kurt Russell.
Yes, the great Kurt Russell, saying, "Don't you have a minute for dear old dad?" And that's when the Watcher says, "That's a story for another time." Damn it!
Yep. So apparently, in this universe where T'Challa becomes Star-Lord, Peter Quill gets wrangled in by Ego, and Ego's nefarious plan maybe succeeds. We don't know.
We're going to have to wait and see. I think it might be Dark Star-Lord versus T'Challa Star-Lord. Maybe.
It'd be really dark if Ego just actually succeeds and he takes over the whole universe.
All the good stuff is just swept away.
All swept away. This would be first Korg dies and then Ego just wins everything. This actually ends up being a very dark timeline.
Okay, now we are going to speed through these comments all the way back. Before you were praising the thumbnail. Thank you.
That was a great thumbnail.
I think I make a good Thanos.
I think so too. The Mad Puppet.
Backyard Limits Froggy. Waiting for death. I am death now, I guess.
I thought you were Thanos. You can't be Thanos and death. You can't marry yourself.
I can't marry myself. That's right. Maranya saying, "What if Froggy also reviewed the show?" Froggy does not care for this show, so Froggy will not be joining us.
Froggy doesn't like the animated shows, I'm noticing. He didn't watch Bad Batch with us, and now he's not watching What If. I think he's anti-animation.
Well, he's anti-3D animation because he liked He-Man. So, I'm sorry, Master of the Universe.
That's true. He did like Masters of the Universe. You're right.
Marani saying, rumor has it. I don't think it's a rumor. I think it is going to be 9 episodes this season, but there will definitely be a season 2.
There is, I believe I read in an interview, they're almost done writing the scripts for the second season, or they're just about done. So as soon as they have the scripts done, then they start on the animating. And then, so second season could come out next year, hopefully. I wouldn't imagine it'd be a really long wait. Animation is something that the animators, they can do from home. It's not like you got to get everybody on a set. So.
Yeah, but as Marani is saying right here, what I would have done for live action Bombshell Nebula. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, move along.
Backyard Movement saying, what if you were a tea drinker? Mm-hmm.
Depends on the tea. I do like sweet tea, sweet iced tea.
Can you extend your pinky?
Oh, there it is.
There. Now I see it. You're also drinking bubbly?
Yes, caffeinated bubbly. This is triple berry.
I can forgive it.
Triple berry.
T'Challa in a crate too. That's not funny.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing.
It actually is about it. It's funny in a very morbid way.
It's very morbid.
Too soon. And this episode really showcases it was way too soon.
It was. This. I believe this episode is the final performance Chadwick Boseman does. Oh, no. It's not? Oh, you should.
I'm pretty sure he's listed as he's credited for 6 episods of this season.
Oh, well, they do the dedication at the end, so that's what was throwing me off.
This is his episode. I think the other ones he's going to be in it in some small way, so they have a Black Panther here or there, and we'll have to wait and see.
I do know Killmonger shows up in one of the episodes this season.
Mm-hmm. Maranya saying Nebula triple crossing was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What else? You're a very realistic looking puppet, according to Eric Breen. Mm-hmm.
I have no strings to pull me.
Okay. It's been Sinan. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Do you have a minute to spare? What is your T-shirt?
What is my T-shirt? It's not even. It's this dark T-shirt. It's just a dark T-shirt today. I changed. I was wearing something earlier, but then I went outside and mowed the yard today, so it got
He
all
really likes your T-shirts.
I know, and I wish I could say I got them all at the same place, but they're just scattered from all over the place. So,
Aloha to you too, nerd. Nerd
aloha.
zombie.
Did you catch Eric?
Froggy doesn't like it. It must be good. Yes.
By that logic, wouldn't Titans be good? Like, shouldn't we be watching Titans if that was the case?
Eric, Zach has broken your point. But anyway, I think that about does it. And while the end is here, Froggy has gone ahead and reminded me to pull this up. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you're watching after the broadcast, the comments mean we can know what you're thinking. We want to hear your thoughts about these episodes too.
Yeah.
We enjoy them. Did you?
Did you?
Tell us
Did
why
you not?
or why not.
Yeah, Did you not like it? Are you like on the fence? Is there a certain there's parts that we didn't even mention. We didn't even talk about how we're up. I mean, that was a really fun part too. I really like that.
Yep.
My phone is singing at me. It won't shut up. So
I know. And as Maranya is saying, thank you, Maranya. Please contribute to the Ko-Fi. So we do a classic puppet theater on here, and we read books, and we read them dramatically, traumatically, comedically.
You decide. Any or all three.
That's right. All of the above. Go ahead, list it. And what it really does, it means that we could get more books to read to you. Because I think our performances are nice, and we hope you have a good time with them, because we really do. So what if you liked, commented, and subscribed, and then went to the Ko-Fi, maybe drop $1? Well, you'd be a very treasured member. But even if you don't, you're still a treasured member to me. Thank you so much for watching. For Zach and myself, we really appreciate it, and we hope to see you again soon. So until then, thank you so much for watching one last time before we say bye.
Bye, guys.